here. So the goal is to make sure that the rotators in your hips, specifically the obturator internus, which is an external rotator, is actually functioning well, loading eccentrically, which means it's getting longer under tension, controlling your movement. And it's fascially connected to the obturator, to the levator ani, which is the supportive muscles that supports the weight of those organs, specifically a bladder. As it fills with urine and gets heavier, a bladder can hold up to 2 cups of urine, so it can get pretty heavy. And so, that's why Kegel doesn't work, because that's only controlling the sphincter through voluntary contraction, but it's not the levator ani muscle is designed to be analogous to the stabilizers in the spine, which means it's supposed to be creating this tension kind of 24/7 to hold those organs up, and it creates a tension forward toward the pubic bone. So it really helps to support those organs properly. Okay, so what we can do is we can train our hips to make sure the pelvic floor is working right. So I'm going to show you 2 different exercises. The first one is to rotate, and you want to be weight bearing. Okay, this is why a lot of the pelvic floor work that you may have been introduced to or trained in doesn't really work, because if you're laying on your back, we've now just eliminated ground reaction force and gravity. And that's what helps your muscles and your joints to really perform the way they were designed to. All right, so you've got to be weight bearing. Now, obviously, if you've got any issues, if you've got bone on bone in your knees, you've got, I don't know what your issues are, so please don't do this if you don't think you should. Get permission, get, information from whoever your healthcare practitioners are to make sure this is safe to do, okay? But I'm going to show you. So external rotation is when the foot turns out. I want to make sure you can see my shoes here with the white strip. So when I turn that foot out, that's external rotation. So that obturator internus right now is shortening when I do that, okay? What we want it to do is we want to train it to get longer and in weight bearing. So just doing this isn't going to improve the function of that muscle, and it's not going to trigger the pelvic floor muscle to function better. So what I want to do is I want to stand on that leg, and I want to turn this way. Now that's the same thing as this leg turning out, only it's weight bearing. Okay, so I'm going to put the camera down just a little more so you can see my feet better, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So think about standing with your feet aiming toward 12 o'clock on a clock dial, and now my right foot is going to go to the 3 o'clock mark. Okay, so I'm going to do this. So my left foot is at 12 o'clock, my right foot is at 3 o'clock. I'm going to bend that right knee, and I'm going to keep turning. So now what that has done is that is weight bearing external rotation of this hip, and it's going to trigger firing of the levator ani muscle. Okay, so if you want to see it from behind so you can do this correctly, my feet are towards 12, my right foot goes to that 3 o'clock, and I keep on turning. If you've got full external rotation in that left hip, you'll be able to point directly behind you, right, at 180 degrees. Now, obviously the opposite, to work the right hip, my left foot is now going to go at the 9 o'clock mark, and I'm going to keep rotating. Okay, now if that's a little too advanced, I'm going to give you one that's a little bit simpler. You can simply rotate standing, arms out in front, kind of like a Frankenstein move, and you can turn as far as you can to the right, which is going to be external rotation of that hip, but we're also going to get internal of this hip. And I don't want to go too deep into this. I want this to be a quick video so you'll actually watch it. And I'm going to keep turning, right? And then, of course, we're going to go to the opposite, which is now external of this hip and internal of this hip. So